Hello friends, and welcome to the farm. It's that time of year again. We're getting things ready to put into the garden. Some of you already have your seedlings started. We've had an extended, strange winter here in the Midwest. It snowed on Easter Sunday. I don't even have my seedlings out into the summer kitchen yet to start germinating because it's just been too cold. But I've grabbed my little container of seeds and we've been looking through what we want to try in the garden again this year. When Danny over at Wicked Awesome Gardening challenged some of us to say, hey, here's 5 things that I will grow again, and here's 5 things that I won't. I actually wrote back to Danny. I said, do I even grow 5 things? I don't know. But I started thinking about it and I think I came up with a pretty good list. So here are the 5 things that I absolutely will grow in my garden again. Starting with tomatoes. We love tomatoes in our garden. Last year, for the first time, I grew cherry tomatoes, some beautiful, lovely, sweet little sugar rush tomatoes. They were so good, and we had them in salads, we had them in other different dishes, and then I even roasted some in olive oil and garlic, and they're still in the refrigerator under a layer of olive oil. We've been eating them all winter, and they're still good. Absolutely love them. Also, I love to plant Roma tomatoes so we can make homemade margarita pizzas. This year, I think I'm going to try some Amish paste tomatoes. Those are a little heartier, a little meatier, maybe get a little bit more sauce out of them. So those will be going in the garden this year. If I can get the seeds in time, we're going to see. I'm going to try to start my seeds and really get them going so we can get them in the garden. So those things right there, tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and paste tomatoes. I might put in an early girl slicer for Papa Jim for his BLTs. We'll see, but we always will have some type of tomato in our garden. Second on the list of my must-haves and always are green beans. I love growing green beans out in the garden. I love how they will grow up over my trellis and create a beautiful shaded canopy. I love going out and just picking the beans, bringing them in and sauteing them for dinner. I love canning them and putting them into the pantry for the next year. So many great things with the beans. I love them, and I just love the pretty little flowers that the beans put out before they actually become a green bean. So we're only a couple years into growing green beans. I love them. They will definitely be going into our garden again. Third on my list are peppers. We always want to have some type of pepper in our garden, whether it be jalapeno peppers, green bell peppers, yellow bell peppers, the little sweet peppers. We want to have peppers in our garden at all time. So I'll be making sure that I get some seedlings going for the peppers to go into the garden this year. We love them. There's nothing better than growing a beautiful green bell pepper, slicing it in half, and doing stuffed bell peppers for dinner, knowing that you grew that bell pepper. I love it. Next on my list that is an absolute must-have every year are herbs. I love growing herbs out in the garden. I have a green stalk garden tower that is 5 towers high. I love planting herbs all around that. There's nothing better. I keep saying there's nothing better, but it's true. I absolutely love just going out, picking fresh herbs and putting them into the dishes that I'm making here in the kitchen. And I can dehydrate some of them and put them away to use throughout the year. I can put some of them in different dishes in the freezer, and I can pull them out whenever I want them to use them. I love doing herbs. This year we're trying some herbs in our Kratky method. I've got a video showing when we planted a little herb garden using a Kratky method I learned from Lisa over at Yogi Hollow Farm. Make sure you go visit her. I'll put her link in the description below. Tell her Country Mama sent you. And fifth on the list of what I will always grow, and I know this is going to be a shock for some of you based on how things went here on the farm last year. Hold on to your knickers. Don't let them get in a bunch. Cucumbers. I know I said I would never grow cucumbers again, and I semi-meant that. I kind of meant it, but I'm going back on that deal a little bit here because I still love having fresh refrigerator pickles. I love fresh dills right out of the fridge. I have so many dills still put up into the pantry that I know that I will be cutting my crop down a little bit this year. I'll be cutting what I plan on growing by half, And then I can have fresh dill refrigerator pickles whenever I want them, and they're a delicious treat for my chickens. The chickens love it when I go in and I cut down 3 or 4 or 5 cucumbers and I throw them over into the chicken run. It's a nice little cool treat for them in the summertime, so I will be doing cucumbers again. I know. After I did that parody about time to make the pickles again, that video right here, I'm sure a lot of my friends thought I'd never do cucumbers again, but I will. I think once you're in the habit, it's hard to break. And you know, I've got a couple of honorable mentions for ones that I will always do. And if they're successful, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. But I love planting sweet peas. I love planting sweet peas on a little trellis, and when my grandchildren come over, they go out to the little pea garden and they can pick the peas right off of the trellis and eat them. They eat them like candy. I just love that they have that in their childhood. That will be a great childhood memory. Also, I've got some seeds that I saved from my buttercup squash. This is from my 2020 harvest. I'll do buttercup squash again. Last year, even though I planted multiple plants, I got nothing but female blossoms. So no fruit, but the flowers and the leaves were beautiful. So I'll do those again. And another honorable mention, not edible necessarily, but I'll always put flowers of some type in my garden. And I love nasturtium, edible. I love sunflowers, edible. I love chamomile, edible. I know that kind of goes over in the herb category there, but I love zinnias. I just love zinnias. I planted so many zinnias last year, and I told my friends, if I don't even plant any vegetables this year, I just might go out and just zhuzh a bunch of little zinnia seeds into the garden and just grow nothing but zinnias this year. I love them that much. They were so beautiful. So now for my won'ts. Now I don't have seeds for my won'ts because they're my won'ts. But you know what I do have for seeds that are in my won'ts that are now crossed over to my yeses is lettuce. I've got some lettuce seeds here, and I planted lettuce the last 2 years. Had no luck. Had no luck with lettuce. Very little luck with spinach. You know, some things just didn't do well in the garden. But again, thanks to Lisa over at Yogi Hollow Farms, I've brought my lettuce garden inside. I'm using a floating lettuce garden method with the deep water system, and also the Kratky, and I'll make sure I put some pictures up here to show you guys what I'm doing. Plus we've made videos. So I have incorporated lettuce back into my growing plan. I'm so happy that I did, because after a couple of years of failures, we are seeing success in our lettuce garden, and I love it. So those are coming back over to the plus pile. I do have one seed packet for my nose, so I think I'll start there. And it's not that it's a bad no. It's just one of those no's that I think I was successful with, but I wasn't successful with the family, and that was watermelon. We put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of care into only getting a few watermelon, and then when I cut them open, even though they were delicious, the variety that we have are just so full of seeds that nobody would eat them. So I might try later at a seedless variety, but these cute little baby ones, they're going back in the bucket. They're not going in the garden this year, because as much as I love growing them, nobody will eat them. And if nobody will eat them, there's no sense in using up my square footage out in the garden on something that nobody will eat. Speaking of other things that I will never put in my garden again, and I say never, so it's not like clad in iron, but we've done potatoes. We love potatoes. We loved enjoying the growth process and watching the process of growing container gardens with potatoes in them. And we had a pretty good harvest our first year. It wasn't a lot. It took up a lot of space, and we didn't get a lot of harvest, and we went through them pretty quick. Now I live just a short drive from a really nice organic potato farm. If I want to go get potatoes, I can just go to the farm and I can get all the potatoes I need. They're already harvested, they're washed, they're bagged. Easy. I can use my raised garden beds and my buckets for something else. And the same can be said for onions. We're not going to be growing onions in our garden, because at the potato farm, there's also an onion farm on the same location. So I can just go there and get the onions. They do all the work. They bag it all up. I go pay a very good price and I can get my onions. Now, depending on how things go with current events, I might change my mind on that. But for now, I'm depending on my friends up at the potato and onion farm. Also on my list, tomatillos. I grew tomatillos last year. They were gorgeous. You have to plant more than one plant. They have to cross-pollinate. So we had 2 big, beautiful tomatillos. My tomatillos grew up over 7 foot tall, 3 or 4 foot wide. They were gorgeous. My issue was they all didn't ripen at the same time, and I never really had enough other than onesie-twosies to try to make something. By the time I'd collect and try to get enough to try to make some salsa for hubby, either they would start going soft and they weren't good anymore, or they were hard. I just never had them where I needed them. So I did take what I could get, and then I would run to the store and get more tomatillos to supplement, and then I could make some salsa. Why don't I just go buy the tomatillos to begin with? Why don't I just go buy him some nice roasted green salsa and call it a day? And last on the list of my don'ts and won'ts is corn. We have 5 acres here, but none of it has been plotted out for corn. I live in the middle of corn country. I can get corn all over the place. And I'm just gonna wait for those farmers that are 100% invested in growing and harvesting beautiful sweet corn for all of us here in the area. I'm gonna let them do the sweet corn. I'm gonna let them do all of the hard work while I enjoy a really nice sweet corn feast here at the farm. So friends, that's it. Those are my 5s and then some. What are yours? Make sure you comment below. Tell me what some of your favorite things are to put in the garden, and what are some things that you'll never do again. You know, this is an open collaboration. You're welcome to join it as well. You can hashtag, the hashtag I'm going to put right across here so you can join Wicked Awesome Gardening's collaboration, and she'll add you to the playlist so that we can all know what you're going to do too. But don't forget to comment down below as well. Okay friends, that's it from the farm today. Thank you so much for joining me. I've got to get these going. I've got to get these in some growing medium so I can get them germinated and get my little seedlings started. Until I see you again, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.